Yo, 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 welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host, Chris Calderera. That's right, Chris Calderera is back for week number 2 in a row, and I could not be more pumped because he is going to explain his thoughts that he put down on paper in his article about his frustrations with this LSU baseball team at this current moment, and he is going to vocalize them for the Out the Box faithful. This is going to be a very packed episode. There's going to be, the airing of grievances, as some might call it, as they called it in Seinfeld. There's going to be some what may feel like shots are being fired, would be another way to put it. But I think most LSU fans at this point are pretty frustrated with how the baseball season's going. Everybody's got an opinion on what they can do to fix the issues that they're having. I think everybody has identified the main issue as the bullpen. We're going to get to all of it. Chris has some strong opinions on it. So do I. And he got the stats back up. So we're excited to we're going to figure it out on this podcast, and then everything's going to be good. We're going to figure it out. Jay Johnson's going to listen, and then he's going to address it at practice leading into the Georgia series this coming weekend and in the postseason. But before we get all that, I want to give a huge shout out to Blaine Luke Keller Williams Realty. Just kidding. We're seeing if you would notice. Chris, I caught you slipping there. He's no longer with Keller Williams Realty. He is with Forte Realty, and he texted me the other day and said that I no longer have to read off the disclaimer stating that that Forte Realty is an equal opportunity housing partner, each office independently owned and operated, because it is only one office. It is local to this area. That means it is not a big chain, not a big national firm that doesn't care about individual people, but on a personal level, they can actually help you find the home of your dreams, sell the old home of your dreams, buy the new home of your dreams, find you somewhere to rent, or find people to rent out your investment property. Blaine has been my realtor for transactions in the past. He was fantastic. He always answers the phone, and he is a night owl and an early bird. Blaine wants to help you out, and he has many new resources made available to him at Forte Realty. Please give him a call at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Blaine is the man. Blaine is my realtor. 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Also, the Boot Crew Media Network. As we kind of teased at the beginning of this episode, Chris Calderera posted a new article yesterday on bootcrewmedia.com. It is entertaining. It's chock full of facts, opinions, poetry, you name it. It is an awesome article, as well as many other articles on bootcrewmedia.com, videos, podcasts. It is the place to go for entertainment. It's the Saints off season right now. Football season is right around the corner. You got to realize, baseball season can come to an end very quickly. Hopefully it won't come to an end more quickly than we would have liked for this season. But all that kind of coverage is on bootcrewmedia.com. Follow them on social media at bootcrewmedia and at bootcrewmedia.com. Woo! All right. Chris, it's great to have you back. I wish the circumstances were better. I do want to point out the stuff that a comment you made last week about how Luffy just skipped town, and then all of a sudden LSU starts losing series to inferior opponents. We'll deal with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if LSU fans are looking to blame somebody for what's going on right now, it's James Luffy. As soon as he skips town, the team starts going down. I don't think there's any coincidence there whatsoever. So good news, though. Good news is I'm told he's coming back this week. So just in time for the last series of the year.
Yes, he is. I believe he's been out of the country. He's been out of the continent. Really? So he's going to have jet lag and all kind of stuff. But I know he's excited to get back. I know he's been following LSU. He was actually texting, in our group text from London, like, what the hell is going on with the Tigers? And I think that's the common question that is being asked by a lot of LSU fans right now. We're going to do what we always do and start with game one And game one this year hasn't really been an issue. It's been a space where we can get together and be like so proud to be LSU fans. With Skeens on the mound and our hitting and everything that goes along with Friday night, first game of the series. LSU was able to 10-run rule Mississippi State on Friday. It was an absolute beatdown. Paul Skeens pitched the entire game. I did bring that up last week. I did say Paul Skeens needs to pitch the whole game in the first game to allow our bullpen to be strictly for Saturday and Sunday. Granted, it was only 7 innings, but he looked fantastic. 13 strikeouts. The bats were alive, had a lot of home runs. Dugas, Joe Bear, Thompson, White, and Skeens got it all done in 95 pitches.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, it looked like, so my parents went to the game, and I had the chance to go to the game, but I didn't. And for a while there, I was kind of regretting it because it looked like the fans in Alex Box Stadium were in store for something pretty special. It was a special night, but it looked like Skeens might not have been giving up a hit anytime soon. I think, through the first 6 batters he faced, he struck out all 6 of them. So that was really impressive. But like you said, John, I mean, game ones have never really been in question. Skeens has done this all year. I mean, he's averaging probably, this is not an official stat, but he's probably averaging somewhere between 11 and 12 strikeouts an outing. And he doesn't really go more than 7 innings ever, which is a really remarkable feat. The offense was clicking. Funny how the offense clicks when there's an actual presence on the mound. Dugas, White, Joe Bear, Thompson, all the usual suspects, they homered in this one. And LSU was able to 10-run rule State in 7 innings, 12-1. So really good game, and it was getting Tiger fans feeling pretty high going into the next 2.
All right, hold that one. I need to open a door or something because my Wi-Fi is breaking up. 1 second.
Okay.
That's the good thing about podcasts, and you can just edit out whatever you don't like. Right, so coming back in. All right, so yeah, Chris, like, how crazy is it? The stat that kept kind of popping up. It's funny how everybody on Twitter and social media starts to notice a stat, and everybody just kind of runs with it. I think the graphic showing where Skeens ranks, throughout a regular season, the total strikeouts, with Ben McDonald being at the top with 202 in a single season. And you see all these great pitchers that come through LSU: Doug Thompson, Anthony Renato, Alex Lang. The list kind of goes on. And Paul Skeens is, I believe, at this point right now, with 152 strikeouts this year, he's ranked 6th all time. And he could easily be number 2 ahead of Anthony Renato, who has 159 in a single season. And then the next one, which is kind of a runaway, it's like Piddle Pete's record that you have talked about on this podcast before. Ben McDonald sitting at 202 strikeouts for a single season. And the sad thing is that Skeens has been very efficient, has gotten many strikeouts. And, if this LSU team, I'm not going to say it's over with, but it's definitely in jeopardy that he will be able to get to there, because it just comes down to the amount of innings left in the season, right? Yeah. Not to say that it's not going to happen, but a lot of things have to go right for that to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, how about that stat? I mean, 202 strikeouts. Watching Paul Skeens do what he does on a weekly basis really puts in perspective a statistic like Ben McDonald's, because, I mean, Skeens has been otherworldly. But like you said, John, I mean, at this point in time, it's kind of the combination of skill and how far your team's going to make it at this point in order for that record to be broken. So we'll see. Like you said, I mean, we're not making any predictions on here. We're not saying LSU's done for, but there definitely are issues with the team, and that could potentially put a cap on how far Skeens can go.
All right, so I think about midway through our conversation on game two is when we're really going to start taking a deep dive into the issues that are facing this LSU team. It's crazy to me how we started off the season playing one of the toughest SEC schedules, and then towards the end of the season we're struggling more. It's like most of the time LSU baseball is like picking up and peaking at this time in the season, and it seems like LSU's for a 2-week span in a very long season, it seems like maybe I try to catch myself saying that I'm just kind of freaking out. But I feel like the bats have masked the issues as well as injuries have played their part. But LSU game two, Mississippi State out hit us, had double the hits that we had, 14-7 in the hit column, and LSU ended up losing by a score of 9-4, after which they were winning 4-2 going into the 8th inning. Ty Floyd got to show off his skills. He had one of his better performances, pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, and then the bullpen just kind of let it go. It hurts to say that we're going to get to game 3, which by far was the worst play of the weekend. But when you're LSU and you are up that late in the game, 4-2, like you got to lock things down. You have to have a reliable relief bullpen closer type situation to win that game and secure the series. I mean, it hurts so bad. I'd almost rather LSU have been losing the whole game than to lose that way.
Yep. Yeah, John, I mean, I agree with you. And a lot of it has to do too, like I can understand losing a lead like this late against a really good team. But Mississippi State is not that team. I mean, we spoke on the podcast last week and we said that this was going to be a series where the pitching staff could really get right because they strike out so much. I mean, and they show you that they strike out so much. I mean, yeah, Skeens struck out 13 guys on Friday, but Ty Floyd came in and struck out 10. It's not like, oh, outside of Skeens, no one can strike these guys out. No, they're a notorious strikeout team, and they were showing it. And so when you've got a team like that on the ropes heading into the 8th inning, you got to put them away. I mean, Thatcher Hurd comes in, and kudos to Hurd. His last 4 outings before this one, he's been on an upward trend. That clearly was not the case for this game here. He gave up 5 runs, without recording it out. He exits the game. So for the second weekend in a row, LSU has a pitcher who comes into the game, gives up runs, and then leaves not recording it out. That cannot be a regular occurrence. That cannot be a regular occurrence if you're trying to make a deep postseason run. Your bullpen has got to be better than that. Only 1 walk for Hurd. So it wasn't like walks were an issue. The bullpen this year has been struggling with finding the strike zone. Hurd was finding the strike zone. They were just barreling him up, So whether that be the case, I mean, I'd have to go back and look. Was he missing spots? Was he leaving it fat? What were the counts? Was he behind? I'd have to go back and look at all that. I'm sure that a lot of that played a factor into him giving up hits. Riley Cooper comes in, gives up 2 more. State scores, what was it? 6 unanswered, 7 unanswered from the 8th inning on, and LSU was just never able to recover. And this was my problem, John, with so many people saying, "Well, this offense can hang with anybody." Well, yeah, that's true. This offense can hang with anybody, but when you're in a situation of, hey, you're in the 8th inning, those are situations where there's not a whole lot of time to swing your way out of if you find yourself in a jam. So the bullpen absolutely has to come in and close the door there, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, that's just what hurts the most, giving up 6 runs in the 8th inning. I mean, it just after Ty Floyd has struggled at times this year, comes in and pitches a hell of a game, and it wasn't like against Auburn where walks were our main issue. I mean, our whole pitching staff only had 3 walks throughout this entire game. I mean, that normally you look at that and you'd say, oh, this LSU team, 15 strikeouts and 3 walks, only had 4 pitchers 3 relievers. Yeah, the 14 hits was a little bit much, but I feel like there's a difference in like, and you probably can explain this a lot better than me, like leaving pitches over the plate and allowing guys to get solid line drive hits, or as opposed to getting them to ground out to short or, hit a pop up. It just, the location's not there. The timing, I don't know how to fix that. It feels like at this point in the season, it just is what it is. And Jay Johnson's just going to have to be very strategic going into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, a lot of it, like, so what Thatcher Hurd was experiencing in this game against Mississippi State, Tiger fans know well because we have a pitcher who is notorious for doing this, Blake Money, And look, nothing against Blake Money. The guy comes in and he gets out, he eats up innings at times, but he is known to leave pitches center cut. If you're getting yourself behind an account, if it's an advantage count for the hitter, so we're talking 2-1, 3-1, 3-0, 2-0, you're limiting what you can do from a pitching standpoint, okay? Because a lot of times coaches are not going to call, a breaking ball on a 3-0 count or a 3-1 count. The hitter knows you're coming with a fastball, and that's fine. You just can't leave that fastball center cut. Okay, if it's right down the middle and you're just throwing batting practice, even a bad team like Mississippi State, a team that's fighting for their postseason life right now because they're one of the last 2 or 3 teams in the conference, even they have enough talent to say, hey, we're going to barrel you up every time you do that. And that was Hurd's issue. That's been Blake Money's issue this year. And so to your point, I mean, it wasn't a walks thing. It was simply, just leaving balls down the heart of the plate. You want the guys to throw strikes, but you don't want the strikes to be center cut. I mean, that's not going to win you games here.
Hey, we kind of froze there. Did you freeze as well?
Yeah, no, you froze for a second, but I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Yep.
Am I good? Am I still frozen? Dude, my Wi-Fi
I see you.
Being horrible right now.
Yeah, you're a little grainy, but I see you. You're moving.
Dang it, dude. This is so frustrating.
Yeah. Am I freezing on your end?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Shit. All right. Well, we're just gonna pick up with game 3, I guess. Hopefully it'll get better, but yeah, this is kind of aggravating. All right, so let's get to game 3, the major implosion of the weekend. The most, it's not even heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching, the fact that they're up 13-4 heading into the 6th inning. LSU is cruising. You're supposed to be just moving it along through innings, just getting work in at that point. I mean, Mississippi State was supposed to be dejected. They were supposed to be like just packing their bags already in the dugout by this time. Slowly but surely, though, LSU pitched 9 pitchers in this game, and we knew that was going to happen. We knew it was going to be a whole staff type of approach for Sunday. We know that's what it's going to be going into the rest of the season. I do think that maybe Coleman could have gone a little bit longer in the game, but at the same time, you have to recognize that, these are college athletes and these coaches have a responsibility over anything to protect the players and not let them get hurt again. So I get why Coleman was pulled after 2 2/3. He did well. He had 5 strikeouts and 3 walks on 50 pitches, only gave up 1 run and no hits. And then we just saw a smorgasbord of pitchers: Guidry, Herring, Little, Money, Ackenhausen, Collins, Dutton, Cooper. And, everything seemed fine, until the 6th inning. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there. I don't know if it was complacency that got LSU. I don't know if it was, kind of like the opposite of Mississippi State feeling dejected and packing their bags. LSU was just happy and they quit caring. I I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on an absolute implosion like that?
Yeah, this game was disgusting. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. It was embarrassing. It was disgusting. Like you said, I mean, LSU had a 9-run lead entering the 6th inning. John, they play 9 innings. Okay, I'm no math expert, but 6 innings is more than halfway through a baseball game. Okay, you're more than halfway through a baseball game, and you're 1 run away from 10-run ruling a team if you make it to the 7th. And you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. Javen Coleman, my hat's off to him. I mean, this was his first extended start since UCL surgery. I mean, he's been pitching for sure, but this was the first time they let him go longer than an inning, I think. 8 relievers came in, John. Like you said, we had a smorgasbord of relievers. It was 8. 8 total relievers came in to the point where you almost ran out of pitching. Like if this game would have extended, this game ended in 10 innings. If this game would have extended longer than 10 innings, there was a question as to if you were going to finish with enough pitching or not, which is really saying something considering Skeens went the whole Friday game. Okay. So you didn't have to use any pitch. You entered Saturday with literally all of your staff available except for Paul Skeens, and you almost ran out of pitching on Sunday. Okay. This bullpen gave up 21 runs in 10 innings this weekend. If you're looking at Saturday to Sunday, 21 runs in 10 innings. That just cannot happen, man. That cannot happen. These relievers, they went 7 2/3 on Sunday, 10 walks, 13 earned runs. 13 earned runs. Now, I know I saw some Tiger fans saying, well, the offense, we really would have liked to seen some runs in the back half of the game. Sure, I can get behind that. Yeah, I'd love to see more offense. When you score 13 runs in a college baseball game, you should win that game 10 out of 10 times. There is no excuse to lose a game when you score 13 runs. 13 is plenty of runs to win a game. Your bullpen simply couldn't get it done. Okay. And look, there were some things outside of the bullpen that I didn't like that game. There were some defensive and offensive substitutions made by Jay Johnson. He put Milazzo in for Travinski late in the game, which, we can talk about Travinski's glove behind the plate. But, Milazzo's spot came up with the bases loaded later in the game, and it would have been a lot better to have Travinski up there, in my opinion, from a batting standpoint. And then out of nowhere, I mean, he subs Gavin Dugas. He subs in Ben DePaul for Gavin Dugas to lay down a bunt. To lay down a bunt, John, when the pitcher for Mississippi State threw 4 straight balls to the 9 hole and was looking to walk the park, okay? He kept bunt on. It was like a 3-1 count, 3-2 count. He kept bunt on. Like, I don't know. I just scratched my head at that. You just gave him an out. I don't quite understand that. But that's kind of a nitpick thing. This game is all on the bullpen. John, I'm at a loss. I mean, because I'm not going to sit here and say that this team can't win a national championship because it's baseball and anything can happen. But with this bullpen, it's not happening, man. It is not happening. If there is no significant improvement, if nobody steps up in this bullpen, there is no doubt in my mind that this team is getting knocked out probably before Omaha. You need pitching depth in the College World Series, and you need pitching depth in the regionals. Super regionals, not so much. You might not make it out of a regional if your bullpen can't get their things together here, which is really disheartening, considering how good this team has been all year.
So I guess my question, to go a little further, and there may be a good answer, and there may not be, but like I kind of mentioned, like it seems like this bullpen and this pitching staff is what it is. Skeens is the best pitcher probably to ever come through LSU. I'd say even, he's given Ben McDonald a run for his money, even if he doesn't beat his all-time season strikeout record, right? Because he's done it more efficiently and in less innings, whatever. Paul Skeens is what he is. And the same goes for the rest of the pitching staff. Like, I don't know how somebody on this team is going to step up when, we've kind of been saying that. It just feels like it is what it is. And now it's going to fall more on, Jay Johnson to be strategic and to say, okay, I'm going to start this guy for this many innings, or I'm going to pull this guy. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just curious how somebody is going to step up when really it kind of seems like it is what it is.
So, John, I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. I am of the mindset of it is what it is. Now, like there's some optimism from fans because they don't want that to be the case and saying, oh, no, somebody will step up. And look, so like you said, I mean, what do we know about this team? Let's break down from a pitching standpoint what we know. Like you said, we know Skeens is the guy. We know he's our Friday guy. He's going to be a lockdown for the Tigers every time he's on the bump. Ty Floyd, in my opinion, has shown you now consistently that he can be a very good, a very solid second starter. No issues with Ty Floyd.
He's 6-0.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he's had his struggles for sure. I mean, he's no Paul Skeens, but I mean, who is? Ty Floyd is a very legitimate starter, no question there. Then we're looking at the smorgasbord, as you put it. I mean, and this is bullpen or otherwise. I mean, we really the third Sunday starter. I still don't know to this day who that could be. I think from a pitching standpoint, if you look at what's there and what just for optimism's sake, who are some guys that could maybe step up because they've shown flashes that they could do that this year. I think Coleman is one. I think Hurd's another. Gavin Guidry, Griffin Herring. I think that's end of list. I mean, I think those four are the guys. Like, if you're going to have anybody step up and show you something and go deep into games when we need them to in the postseason, I think it's going to come from one of those four guys. Because outside of those four guys, I mean, Christian Little, there's a saying that, whenever you get knocked down, you just got to get back up on the horse. Christian Little has fallen off enough horses to build a small army, okay, a small cavalry of horses. I don't know if he's ever going to be the guy that LSU thought he was going to be when he transferred in from Vanderbilt. I really do think it's going to be limited to Coleman, Hurd, Guidry, Herring. Sam Dutton is probably in that if you want to throw a fifth in there. That mix of guys is what we need to be looking at for optimism's sake. But like you, John, I really subscribe to the mindset that it is what it is. I am not very high on this team right now. I hate to be a negatiger or pessimistic about it. I'm just telling you, at this point in the season, it is so rare to see a guy just emerge out of nowhere. I mean, that's kind of a beginning of the season, middle of the season, start a conference play type of thing. Very rarely do you see a guy come out of nowhere from the last regular season weekend of the year into the SEC tournament, unless he's shown it before. And really, we haven't had too many guys who've shown it. So I'm with you. I don't know. I'm not liking where this team is at right now.
Do you think we're having the same conversation if one or all of Chase Shores, Grant Taylor, and Garrett Edwards are all still healthy?
No, I don't think we have this conversation at all. Because, I mean, you think about it, John, you just named three pitchers there. Okay, so I'm not saying that all those guys have to hit, but you named three pitchers. Everybody moves up 3 chairs, okay, when one of those guys – because all those guys were arguably ahead of the guys we just named. Maybe not Hurd. Coming into this year, Hurd was seen as kind of a Sunday guy, a lock guy. But everybody else was kind of a part of the ensemble cast. Those 3 guys get hurt. They go out for the season. Now everybody's got to move up a chair every time one of those injuries happens. So, I mean, John, we weren't – yeah, and this is to those who are dogging Wes Johnson right now. There's a lot of injuries on this staff. I wouldn't say that it's all Wes Johnson's fault. Gavin Guidry was not pitching in the fall. Okay. And now all of a sudden, because of injuries, we're relying on Gavin Guidry in high leverage situations. Gavin Guidry might be the third starter. I don't know where this team is going. He might be the third starter. And he was a guy that was not pitching. I didn't even know he was going to pitch until February. Okay. So that's kind of where this team is at. The conversation's completely different, John. If one of those guys stays healthy, I think the conversation's different.
Yeah, I agree. I think just I don't know if it's just like a commanding presence that you have by having a guy that you know consistently is going to go out there and pitch multiple innings. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if, I mean, if it were me, I get in my head. I'd be in my head right now. I'd be like, if I'm Thatcher Hurd, I'm like, nothing is going right. Why would I think like I'd be down on myself? Or not. I mean, not just him. I'm just saying like, if I was a pitcher that had struggled, a good bit this year, it's hard for me now to just turn it around. So like I said, I mean, it's if there's anybody that can manage a team and do it, two names come to mind, and it's Paul Mainieri and Jay Johnson. Paul Mainieri will put Todd Peterson in to bat in the SEC tournament, and he'll hit a double over the fence or what like it's just going to take being creative from Jay Johnson, and the problem is that we talked earlier this year about like creative tinkering and taking chances early on in the season, putting your team to the test, playing tough SEC games, tough. We played Texas, one of the first series of the year, to help us know where we're at. And it just seems like these issues with the bullpen, they've been underlying. They're like a bad like pimple, and it's finally coming to a head. And it's coming to a head just as you're about to go to the senior prom. Like, why do things always happen at just the worst time? Like it's like never would this happen if you were going to an acne convention. You know what I'm saying? Like if they had a convention that you celebrated acne, it would never happen then. Your face would be completely clean. I don't know. I'm just.
I like the analogy there. I think that's a pretty apt descriptor for what's going on. And you mentioned Paul Mainieri, John. You mentioned Paul. And look, I don't want this comment to be taken the wrong way, because I think Jay Johnson's a great coach. I think Jay Johnson's going to win a national championship here at some point. No doubt in my mind. He's an awesome coach. But something about Paul Mainieri's teams, man. I mean, this is usually the time of year a Paul Mainieri team is catching fire. Like we were always going into the SEC tournament as fans saying, man, I mean, the sky's the limit. We might have been kicking the ball around early in March, but all of a sudden we're clicking on all cylinders. Something about Paul and coaching that way. And that is just not the case right now. Like you said, John, I mean, we're going to the prom and we got some issues on our face. And I don't know if there is a solution. I think the team's foibles are what they are. And like you said, I think it's going to take a creative solution from the coaching staff to say, okay, we're going to really have to manage the heck out of this bullpen. Last year it was the opposite. Like the starters weren't very good, and the bullpen was what really carried the team through games. And this year it's the opposite. It's the starters are good, and the bullpen is so unreliable. So it's just going to take a lot of managing from Jay Johnson, and games might end up being longer. He might have to make a lot of substitutions on the mound just solely based on matchups. I don't know what it's going to take, but we cannot keep doing what we're doing right now. That's not going to win a championship.
Right, and you have to be ready for when Dylan Cruz goes through a slump and his average drops down to 437. I believe is what it's at now. I mean, no, but I say that kind of in jest, but our hitting is not going to get any better. Like you get what I'm saying. Like it's not going to get any better from a game to game basis. Yeah, I mean Tommy White can hit as many balls over the fence as possible. Hayden Travinski can pimp as many home runs as he wants, but in this 3-game series, we got out hit by Mississippi State, who was on the verge of not making the SEC tournament. We got out hit in game 2, 14-7, and 16-13 in game 3. Now in game 1, we smoked them at the plate, but whenever you have to string together wins, especially at the end of the season tournament style play, it's just like that's why they always say that your relief pitching and who your pitching staff is comprised of makes the difference in Omaha.
Yeah. I mean, and you
Also,
know, like you said, John, I mean, it's from an offensive standpoint, we are kind of what we are there too. I mean, there's going to be guys. Dylan Cruz is going through a slump right now, but Jay tried tinkering with the lineup last night in the midweek game, and he put Travinsky at first base, which I thought was interesting. I think he's probably trying to think ahead and saying, like, is there a way I can have Travinsky, Milazzo both in the lineup, along with Beloso and possibly a Joe Bear? Like how can I get all the biggest bats in the lineup? I think maybe he might have been toying with that idea. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, if Pearson's playing in the outfield, like it doesn't matter who. It's a plug and play for the offense. The hitters are going to be what they are going to be. Yeah, some games are not going to score 13 runs. I mean, they're not a machine. They're college kids. But you give me this offense in a 3 or 4 game stretch, they're going to score their runs. So really, the issue that needs to be focused on from a coaching standpoint, I think, is the bullpen. I mean, it's strictly the bullpen right now.
yeah. It stinks to have to get to this point in the season. My only other thought or I guess path to go down, logically speaking, is that Jay Johnson is an evil genius. That of the Joker in the Dark Knight, or even Bane, or you could probably name some evil geniuses that you can think of. What if Jay was like, wow, we are really going to make it all the way through the season being number one. Oh, wait, a number one team has never won in the new format. Oh, let's take a step back. Let's psych everybody out. Let's lose to two of the worst teams in the SEC. And he might carry that into this weekend against Georgia. And then you're going to have teams taking us lightly whenever you come to the SEC tournament, regional play. He might not even play well in the SEC tournament. He may not even want to play at Alex Box, which we've played very well at home this year. I'm just saying, like, my only other logical thought process besides the bullpen being this bad, you mentioned it last week, like Jay Johnson just had to have been thinking whenever we were walking all those batters consecutively in the first inning, like, is this really happening? Like Jay Johnson's like sitting there wondering, like, is this really happening after we've been number one all year? So yeah, I say that kind of joking, but wouldn't that be awesome if he was just like throwing a few games here and there, and then they just came back and ran the table?
Well, he's doing a very good job of psych. You said, maybe he's trying to psych the fan base out. He's doing an excellent job at that. I mean, if there was a way to get your fan base to DEFCON 5, I don't know what's worse, 5 or 1. I don't know which way it goes. The worst level imaginable. He's doing a very good job at it right now.
Yes. All right. Let's clean up that crappy weekend of baseball with Workbox. Make sure to hit Martine at Workbox up if you need a portable office building, portable restroom, storage container, porta potty. Give Martine a call at 225-343-4886. Got it this week. Knew I wasn't going to mess up Martine's ad read 2 weeks in a row. We actually were texting with Martine over the weekend. Huge LSU baseball fan. He got him an out the box polo, from us for being such a great sponsor. Chris, you did as well. Hope it fits. Hope it treats you well. But make sure to hit up Martine. He's a great dude, great family. If you want to be treated like family and professionally, call Martine at Workbox 225-343-4886. Also, shout out DraftKings. Enter promo code BOOT. Bet just $5. Get $200 in free bets if your team wins. 21 plus restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Chris. We're going to do a 2-minute drill on the midweek game. LSU played McNeese on Tuesday night and won by a score of 7-4 after getting out-hit by McNeese. Yeah, well, I had to double take as I read that stat. McNeese had 12 hits and LSU had 9. I do see kind of a crooked number in our error column. We had 4 errors last night. That wasn't the cleanest game either. I thought, LSU last regular season game of the season at Alex Box, in-state school, coming off a tough series loss. Blake Money, Herring, Dutton, Guidry, Hurd. Those are all the guys you mentioned as being at the top of our bullpen list. And LSU is, not winning. They tied it up in the third. McNeese did. It was 3-3 after the third. LSU strikes in the the bottom of the sixth to make it a 5-3 game. Am I reading this right? No, wait, I'm not reading this right. Yeah, 5-4. 5-4. And then sorry. I accidentally on the box score, I put LSU first instead of McNeese because I was, just trying to like put LSU first in something since we were no longer first. But all that to say, McNeese goes up 1 run in like the 6th inning, and it's like, wow, is this? It was like one of those moments. Is this really happening? Is LSU really about to do this again in the midweek after such a rough go of it? Yes, they did end up coming back. They made the plays, but I mean, last night just kind of continued the sloppiness that was apparent over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the errors can't happen. I mean, it just looked like we were kind of in a funk on the field. Dugas didn't look like himself. I don't know. It was odd. The game never felt right. And like you said, you got to the 6th inning and you're looking at the score and you're like, I mean, no way LSU's about to drop the last non-conference of the season to McNeese State. I can't imagine what the melt would have been from LSU fans had that happened. Luckily, it didn't. You can look at it in a negative light and say, gee, look how much LSU's struggling. They're on a downward trend. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it and say, hey, those are nights a good team finds a way to win. Okay, when nothing's really going your way, you're kicking the ball around, you're not getting the performance on the mound that you thought you'd get. Good teams find a way to win those games. LSU found a way to win, and now they can move on to Georgia. So, maybe the truth's a little bit of both there. Maybe there is room for concern. I mean, again, with Blake Money, center cut. I mean, everything he throws. I've never seen a straighter fastball thrown right down the middle of the plate. And look, again, no disrespect to Blake Money. I'm just saying if he wanted to make a living as an MLB All-Star Game home run derby pitcher, he'd be fantastic at it because, I mean, there's nobody better in the business. He throws strikes, though, which is more than a lot of the bullpen, which is more than I can say for most of the bullpen. So kudos to him. But yeah, I think Georgia's going to be the thing.
Yeah. Well, in Little League, like the coaches begged me to throw a strike. I couldn't hit the strike zone, within 10 feet. I one time threw the ball over the ump's head, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's a ball." Like if I even had a little bit of the Blake Money strike capability, it actually is like impressive. Like how straight he can throw the ball. I do know he's working on that. Blake Money, I'll tell you what, there are guys on this LSU team. Beloso's the one that has come to mind just because he's been around for so long. That get fired up, but Blake Money gets fired up. Last night they had a play where I think the batter kind of chopped it to the pitcher's mound, and he ran over there and barely beat the runner to first base. But I don't know. I wish he could like hype himself up to put a little bit more little right hand English on his fastball or whatever that you need to do to not leave it over the plate. Anyway, so yeah, I don't like I don't like being out hit by McNeese. I think that that's a shame whenever you have 9 hits. Like if this were a few years ago, LSU baseball would be ecstatic to have 9 hits and 7 runs, like LSU baseball, people might forget, like we had a tough time coming across runs for a little while, Now the hits and the runs are up this year, and there's a few theories that they're juicing the balls and whatnot. But I will say this is a lot more exciting as far as the hitters go. watching this many runs and this many hits, but I do not like being out hit. If you lose a game and the other team's pitchers are on and you're just your bullpen stinks, that's one thing. But being out hit, I just don't like. So another thought I had, just this is my last one. We're late night podcasts in here, so the crazier like thoughts come out at night. Maybe LSU needs the Angels in the outfield. Maybe, to put that extra little English on the straight fastball that's being left over the plate at the letters. Maybe an Angel needs to swoop down and put a little spinny spin on it, or maybe some of our base running errors that have been made this year. Now, there hadn't been a ton, but the ones that have been made were boneheaded. Maybe if you just have I forget the actor's name. I think it was the guy from Back to the Future. I think it was Doc. Doc from Back to the Future was the guy that played the main angel in the outfield in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised you don't know. Yeah, it was Doc Brown. Doc Brown that helped Marty McFly out in Back to the Future. He was also the angel in the outfield that helped the Angels win the pennant that year. So maybe that's what LSU baseball needs. I don't know. I'm out of answers at this point. We have one more regular season series left, and we're going to get to that in a second. But I just thought that was worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, John,
right.
in the movie Rookie of the Year, the Chicago Cubs pulled a little kid out of the stands and had him pitch. So maybe we just need to find our Hollywood groove with the Angels and Rookie of the Year, and maybe this team can make a deep run.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can. Yeah, I lost you for a second there.
Yeah, this is so aggravating. I don't know why this is happening tonight.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, I lost you for a good minute there. I was like,
in Rookie of the Year. Well, maybe like you were saying in Rookie of the Year, Gavin Dugas, who injured his shoulder a couple weeks ago, and then even last night against McNeese, he kind of looked like he came down funny on it. Maybe they need to put him on the mound, and maybe he'll start throwing 105 like the kid in Rookie of the Year. I don't know. I'm trying to pull out all the stops here to help this LSU baseball. Well, no, I mean, Jay Johnson's going to listen to this podcast. He's going to be like, Jay Johnson's going to be like, wow, why didn't I think of that? So we are going to get to Georgia in a second. But before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland. I'm wearing my House Bar in Tigerland hat again that I got from thehouseintigerland.com. Graduation is this weekend. Luffy is literally getting off the plane, coming back from out of the country today, as you're listening to this, Thursday, and going to his brother's graduation on Friday. And then directly after that, they're planning on going to the House Bar in Tigerland. Best pizza, family environment. They renovated it a couple years ago. It looks so much better than when we were in college, Chris. The guys over at the House Bar in Tigerland are awesome. They want you to come by, have a beer, eat some pizza, enjoy it. You only get to graduate college, well, I would say once, but sometimes you don't, or sometimes it may take you long. I don't know. Whatever your situation is, it doesn't matter. Whether you're celebrating your own graduation or you're celebrating somebody special in your life, get on over to the House Bar in Tigerland. It is not a good baseball team. They have won a few decent games this year. I believe I can't remember who they beat the weekend prior to
Arkansas.
Whatever SEC team. Arkansas. They beat Arkansas, I think, in a series 2-1, and then Arkansas came to Alex Box. But they're the bottom feeders, right? And if Jay Johnson was really trying to aggravate this fan base, this would be the perfect series to go up there and, I don't know, throw in a sweep. That would really just flip things on its head.
Yeah, yeah. Don't, I swear, don't, LSU better not get swept. They better not go up here and get swept, because the SEC is still on the line. Believe it or not, John. I mean, we're dogging this team right now. At the end of this weekend, we could very well be saying LSU is the regular season SEC champion. So LSU needs some help. They need some things to go their way. I think Kentucky needs to win two. I think Vanderbilt needs to win two, and then we need to win two, and we do it. But yeah, don't, Jay Johnson, just take care of business, brother, please.
All right. So if you kind of look at it, I think everybody has kind of mapped out, what LSU baseball has to do to host a super regional. Some people, I'm not as familiar with the seeding processes. Chris, can you kind of like explain is a scenario in which LSU does not end up hosting, like being a national seed?
Yeah, so the way I've been explained with how this is going to work, LSU needs to win this weekend, and by win this weekend, they need to they need to win 2 of 3 against Georgia. If they do that, there is a school of thought that says LSU will be a top 8 seed. Now, for those that are unfamiliar, what's the significance of being a top 8 seed? Well, a top 8 seed guarantees you home field advantage through super regional play. So if you're one of the top 8 teams in the country, you will play at home for your regional and you will play at home for your super regional. Now, things can happen. Upsets occur. If LSU is not a top 8 seed, that does not mean that they will not play at Alex Box for a super regional. It just, you guarantee it. Okay. So with that being said, I personally think, John, I think they need to win 2 of 3 against Georgia, and I think they probably need to win 1 in the SEC tournament. Some people disagree. They say, no, LSU's good at that point. I'm just telling you, I'm not going to put my head on the pillow comfortably if LSU wins 2 of 3 and then gets bounced in the first round of the SEC tournament. Maybe they'll still get a top 8 seed, but I'm going to be sweating about it. So in my mind, LSU needs to win 2 of 3 and then win at least 1 in the SEC tournament. And to me, you're guaranteed. If you do that, there's no way that you're not going to be a top 8 team.
It's just so wild to me that we're having that conversation, right? After LSU was number 1 for what, 12, 13 weeks, preseason number 1, and then
unanimous
all of a sudden,
number 1.
it just seems like this happens so fast. It's like, how did we get here? And maybe that's the typical thing that LSU fans do. They overhype. They get too excited. I don't know. I'm right there with all those people. I hope for Paul Skeens, mainly for Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz's sake, that LSU can make a run, because wow, like what a tragedy that would be to, I don't want to say waste, because it's not wasting. You're competing and you're playing good baseball and whatnot, but yeah, I don't know when the next time we're going to see, if ever, we're going to see a Paul Skeens, a Dylan Cruz, and a Tommy White, among other fantastic players on an LSU baseball team. And maybe we will. Cade Beloso told us last year and this year that Jay Johnson is an animal at putting together quality baseball teams. He's a fantastic coach, and he said he's going to believe him. I really do. But it just feels like you don't want to blink on it might be a long time before we see that again, if ever.
Yeah, I mean, you got number 1 and 2 in the MLB draft this year. I mean, that is rare. I'd have to look and see. I don't know if that's ever been done before on the same college team, for 1 and 2 in the same MLB draft to be on a team together. So obviously, you're gonna, anything short of Omaha is gonna feel like a massive disappointment. And look, Georgia's gonna be tough, man. I mean, like, they're the worst in the SEC East, but at the same time, if you look at who they're pitching, so they're taking a page out of everyone else's playbook. They're basically conceding Friday. They're basically saying, we're going to throw our worst guy on Friday you're going to win. Okay. And then you're going to see our best guy on Sunday. Okay. And that's what they're going to do. And they're starting all lefties. So LSU is going to see lefty, lefty, lefty. So for all those out there that are so skeptical of LSU hitting the left-handed pitchers, this is your weekend. This is your time. And, it's going to be interesting to see how the offense responds. It's going to be I think this is a very good series for LSU to end on. It's winnable. I hate to say sweepable because I said that last week and we lost the series. But this is a very winnable series. Get yourself right before the SEC tournament, okay? Start hitting a stride because, again, you're going to be wanting to be at a certain level when you enter regional and super regional play. If you're going to make a run at Omaha, it doesn't matter that you got all this talent on your offense. You've got to be hitting a certain stride, and it starts this weekend. This is a massive weekend for the team. Most important weekend of the year right here. So.
Hey, the most important game you play is the next one, right? That's the LSU late night podcasting. Chris, this is been a great 2 weeks recording with you.
Yes, I don't know if you've stopped talking yet or not, John. Oh, there you are. Okay.
We hope to have you back on the show. Thank you. Like with Keller Williams Realty, Cox, DraftKings, and the Boot Crew Media Network.
Oh, there you are. Okay, wait a minute.
The House Bar in Tigerland, Work Bangs, and the Boot Crew Media Network. Also, I want to give a special shout out to a buddy that hit me up a while back about his new marketing firm, Mayday Marketing. Chris, I know you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Nick Torrent. He started a marketing firm a while back called Mayday Marketing. If you're wondering where he got the name Mayday, it is because he is training or is a firefighter. I don't remember exactly.
I think he is,
but he is an absolute workhorse. He is a firefighter. And he sat me down a while back, and me and him had a talk about different marketing strategies. He laid out a plan to help us grow as a podcast. Everything was professional. He was a class act. You can tell that he definitely has your best interest at heart whenever you're talking to him. I actually know his brother pretty well. He graduated with us. You actually were his brother's coach for club baseball at LSU. But just wanted to give a quick shout out to Nick Torrent, very professional, Mayday Marketing, up and coming marketing firm. If you need any sort of marketing for your business, give him a shot. Hear him out. Hear his plan. Very professional. Literally like lays out like a customized plan for what you need, specific to your business. So make sure to hit him up if you want a marketing firm to bring your business to the next level. All right, Chris, we'll have you back on soon. Yep. I did hear me and you got to talk offline. I think we need to get a Hoover trip together.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm open to it. I know one of our listeners, Matthew Dupre, was floating that idea around as well, so I would be very interested in that.
Well, if I can guarantee you one thing, Chris, if LSU, they're gonna go to Hoover and they're gonna, play a couple games, but we're gonna have to coordinate a tailgate out of state. I've never done an out of state tailgate, so
Well, this could be the year, man. This could be it right
we're
here.
looking forward to that. So with that, please LSU don't go up there and get swept.
That's all we ask.